This clip is from my conversation with a Hasidic woman from Kiryas Joel, Fradel Neuman. In Kiryas Joel Hasidic life, the style of head covering that a woman wears carries enormous social significance. A woman usually wears the same style as her mother and her sisters, and that tradition places her and her family in a socio-religious category, meaning how conservative or modern they're considered to be. That category doesn't just define how a woman covers her head, it defines her overall level of religiosity. So it might affect her skirt length, her behavior, her exposure to the Western world, everything. So if a woman wears, let's say, a hat, which is the word, let's say, for a head covering that's a wig with a hat on top, she's considered moderate and expected to dress and act accordingly. Lots of women in these categories then push back or play around with the social norms. But even when they do, they're pushing against something that's very real, something that they and everyone around them can see and read. These categories are so important that families are actually referred to by them, as you can hear Fradel do in this conversation. So, a wig family, or a hat family, or married a shpitzel family. The woman's head covering defines the whole household's place in the community. And so, when you say this is a shpitzel family, it is shorthand to say this is a very conservative family, or a wig family, it is shorthand to say this is a more modern family. In my own work, I've been fascinated by how women navigate these social norms. Just like in the Western world, we might consider some clothing more cool and to signify a more cool, fashionable persona, and others considered maybe more dowdy or nerdy or so on. I've been interested in how in the Hasidic community, women use these norms to express personality, individuality, even fashion or conformity, while still operating within or pushing against their assigned place. In light of this, Frado's head covering journey that she will share now was extremely significant. So, when you got married, from the pictures that we see, you wore a different head covering that you're wearing now.
I did.
Can you explain
I
what you
did.
wore then?
Yeah. So what I wore then is called a shpitzel. It's basically, I don't know, it's like a lot of fabric sewn, not fabric, it's just like, I don't even know how to explain
Threads.
it, but
It's
it's
threads,
like a
right?
lot of threads. Yeah, a lot of threads sewn together. And then on top of it, I wore a tichel, which is a scarf.
Did you put padding in the tichel?
I did. I did put a little padding in the tichel, yeah, just like to give it some height.
So gets like definition. It's more flattering.
Yes.
So what's the significance of the spitzel, would you say?
So the significance of the spitzel is that it's not similar to hair. It doesn't look like hair in any way, shape, or form. And then the other significance is tradition, which is what my mother wore that, and it's just what my family wears, and so I was expected to do that as well.
Did you want to wear it?
I didn't have any other I wasn't informed that I have the option of saying, oh, I want something else.
The morning after your wedding is when you put on this new head covering.
Yes.
Would you say putting on a spitzel defined you in the community in a way versus wearing what you're wearing now, which is a wig?
Well, I think it definitely defined me in a way that I did what my parents did. I wore what my mother wore.
Got it.
My father actually comes from a shpitzel family, which is what I wear now. All my aunts wear shpitels.
The more modern family.
Yeah, it's considered more modern in my community. But my father was the one that married a shpitzel, which is my mother. And it was just, we were very tzniusdik, which is modest. We were like expected to dress in a very modest way, even more than some other families in KJ. There are a lot of levels, and I was expected to dress a certain way.
Like, can you give examples of how you were more modest than your friends?
Yes. So, for example, my skirts would be 5 or 6 inches below the knee, while others were like 4 or 3. Or my hair, I couldn't wear my hair down unless it was really, really short.
You
I was
wore
expected
braids?
to have a ponytail. No, I did not wear braids.
Braids is even more extreme.
Braids is even more extreme, yes.
Did your father marry your mother because he wanted to be more conservative? Is that what it was?
I think so. Also because he went to learn in Argentina, which is where my mother lived. He went to learn when he was like 17 or 18. His mother was sick, so his father actually was sick, or both of them. I don't remember, but his father wasn't very involved in his life, so he moved there to learn, and the shidduch was read to him when he was there. So since my mother wore a shpitzel, he just, he married into the shpitzel family.
You know, Fradel, the first time I heard of you was when you went public talking about trauma, talking about your struggles, mental health. You're wearing a spitzel, which is symbolically so conservative. It's like the most sheltered of the sheltered. And it made ripples everywhere. I got so many messages from different people who are like, did you see this woman? It's not easy to speak out when you just speaking out causes such a strong spotlight to suddenly descend on you. You then continued like to stay in the public eye and eventually made a public change, like you changed your physical appearance, right? What was that like, the experience of changing head covering?
So it is something we have been thinking about for about a year, my husband and I, and I really wanted to do it for a very long time. I just felt like I'm going to get so much heat from my family, and I wasn't ready for that. Then at one point I was ready, after a lot of therapy and talking about it with my therapist and my husband and discussing it back and forth. I was like, okay, I'm ready to do this, and I'm ready to deal with the ramifications that it may bring. And then I did. I went up to my parents. I told them this and this, like, it's happening. My mother was devastated.
What did she say?
We spoke about it in depth. I can't share exactly what she said because I don't want to hurt her or, do anything that's going to harm her. But by now she's supportive. I'm just going to say that.
Are you wearing on top of your...
It was a journey. I'm wearing this.
You wear a snood.
I wear a band, like a
Okay,
this.
Got it. Okay, I see. Very nice. I really like your wig.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Was she afraid that this is going to be the beginning of more changes?
She was very afraid that this is like a roller coaster of like, or like this is just going to get the ball rolling to something a lot worse. And I understand where she's coming from. I have 3 siblings that are not religious anymore. So I understand her fear. And I tried explaining to her that it's not the case. I just hated how I looked in the shpitzel. I just really disliked myself when I looked in the mirror. And, I even said to my mother, I know this is not going to make me happy. Happiness is from within. And this isn't something that's just going to make me magically be a happy person. And my mother knew at that point that I was struggling. I told my mother that I know that it's gonna give me some, something to let me go forward. It's going to give me a push to continue going in my journey.
Was it simply about the physical appearance of the spitzel versus the wig, or was there an identity issue that was
for
involved?
Me or for her?
For you, the change.
There definitely was an identity, I sort of had an identity crisis, which was basically I did not feel like myself in my shpitzel. I felt like this it just doesn't belong to me.
Because it's like the shpitzel is it's more than just the look. It identifies your place in the community as a very pious, like almost like a rebbetzin. Not like as a stylish businesswoman, photographer lady.
Yeah, it just didn't match my vibe anymore.
What was the reaction in the community writ large?
It was a lot, to say the least. There were a lot of comments, mostly good ones, people coming up and saying, oh, you look so good, whatever. And then there was a lot of backlash from both sides, my parents, my in-laws. It wasn't easy. Regarding the community on Instagram, they were mostly very supportive. I got a lot of very supportive messages. People were very happy for me. And, I got courage from other people that did the same, that changed before I did. And it was good to have a support system.
Did you have a big coming out moment?
I did. I posted about it.
What did you write?
I just wrote that I'm changing my headgear and I'm putting on a shpitzel. And I wrote, everything that I felt at that point, that I knew it's not going to bring me magically happy, but this is what I felt I needed to do at that time for myself, for my own journey.
Kol hakavod. Okay. So did you think it might be part of a bigger religious change?
I did. And that's why we thought like about a year before we actually made the decision, because I myself was afraid of this becoming just like a whole issue that's just going to go further and further. And I didn't want that. I was just trying to feel like myself. And I didn't want to become like irreligious or something. I just wanted to like how I looked in the mirror. So I did think about it. Yeah.